G'day, welcome to the workbench today, guys. No, we're not in New Zealand. We're in sunny Canada, getting ready for Christmas season. So we don't know how lucky we are in New Zealand. Fred Dagg said it, and he is dead right. Look at these hot points they have here. You can get a pack of 10 of them real cheap. And that's the standard power socket they have here. These are tamper resistant. Doesn't mean that they send an alarm off to someone if someone tries to play with your hot points. Now, it means that your phase socket is not exposed to kids putting little screwdrivers or bobby pins or what have you. So a bit like they do in New Zealand, except New Zealand it's they got a little shutter on the PDL things. Yeah, this is standard hot point. Now have a look and see how you go to install them. Thick, solid core cable here. It doesn't bend. I could probably lift myself on that pretty easy. You gotta terminate your earth points in the back there. It's bare earth wire. You gotta focus. You gotta clamp your cable right in there. Cables are clamped. This is a demonstration for you because you can't have your sloppy cables in your power socket. Now look here. This is not New Zealand. This is your phase on the right hand side. This is your neutral. That's your earth. Always looks a bit surprised. So it's back to front that way, and also your colors. Black is phase, white is neutral, and earth is a bare earth, so you always know what earth is. The alternative for black is red, so if you've got a secondary phase somewhere, that goes off in red. But yeah, black normally comes straight off the switchboard, off your MCB. Now, to wire this double hot point up, I've had to do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 terminations, as well as the clamp as well. So 8 screws got to be screwed in. You can't put two wires in one terminal. You got to wrap them around the screws like the good old days. And then somehow you got to shove all that back in there, and it doesn't shove very easy. This is solid 14 gauge cable. Solid core, no stranded stuff here. It doesn't bend. The good thing, yeah, bend it right out of the way. The good thing is that these flush boxes are quite deep, but you can't put them back to back on a wall because they're too deep. So yeah, you got some room, but it's way back inside there, and it's usually filled up with the earth wires trying to get those silly things in. So yeah. On top of that goes a fancy little plate, and it all looks pretty when it's done. And you want to change your plates later on. It's cheap. Change the whole color scheme of your house. Like 50 cents a plate and you're done. But no switches. If you want to do a switch, you do a switch above it somewhere, and that's your switch. So these are all unswitched power sockets. That's the standard here. But they're tamper-proof because you can't stick a knife in the hole unless the neutral's already open. However, everything's exposed. So not only is this box completely earthed, because you've earthed it, if you got that, somehow get everything in there, if you could try and pull it out one day, bang, you just electrocute yourself straight away. So number one rule in Canada is turn off the main switch when you're working on power. We like to put a bit of tape around these in a circular manner around it, but yeah, you're just asking for trouble if you open these up. Now, someone said, why is the cable so big? And I had a look at the switchboard. She's two 200 amp breakers coming into this house. They got a subboard upstairs, and there's 2 100 amp breakers going upstairs to feed that subboard. And the answer is pretty simple. Ohm's law. We've got 110 volt here, so as opposed to, let's say 220 for New Zealand, you want to have the same wattage heater going or the same wattage light bulb going, you got to do twice as many amps. So your cable's got to be bigger. It's got to handle the power. So that's why the cables are so big. I don't understand why they don't have stranded cable. It's just not a thing here. Everything's solid and stiff as hell. It's not very malleable. But anyway, this one's just for demonstration purposes because you can't have your cables just hanging around like that. Inside a wall that you're going to jib, you still got to clamp your cables and staple them up the wall inside a wall that's going to be jibbed. So here's my demo for the day. Also, all the hot points, all the flush boxes they're meant to be mounted off the stud. So they don't go in behind your sheetrock, your jib. They mount in front. So you got to be really careful with cutting your holes to make them all mount up properly. Otherwise, in New Zealand we get to hide a few sins behind the jib board. But yeah, that's it. The good thing about it, there's these little plates you have that go over top, just a piece of plastic. The good thing about Canada is, apart from sharing your basement with a furnace, which actually keeps you warm in the winter, the man cave down here is as big as the house, because it's the complete size of the house is just duplicated downstairs. And yeah, she's big. She's a big house, and it's a big man cave. So New Zealand doesn't quite have that. We got to go out to the shed in the backyard or little garage that we managed to build. But yeah, exact same size of the house, and there's a furnace down here, keeps you warm. Pretty good. Anyway, guys, that's me and my tamper resistant power sockets. Get them while they're hot. See you guys.